Maybe you already have a copywriting business started, or maybe you have, like I was, gotten bitten by the bug and you want to figure out how to become a paid writer and do so with a steady stream of clients and fair industry standard pricing. Step away from the freelancer mills and the freelancer marketplaces. I'm going to take you behind the scenes of my own business in this video. Let's go. Hey there, if we've not yet met, my name is Ashlyn Carter. I'm a conversion copywriter and I own Ashlyn Writes and the Copy Bar. I love my business so much. Some of these answers, though, I was giving on a podcast interview this week, and I thought, you know what? I'm going to turn on my recording equipment and I'm going to film this for YouTube too because I think it would be helpful. Do me a favor, hit the like button if you do what you do as a service. Maybe you call yourself a freelancer, maybe you don't, and I've got some serious spicy thoughts on that. And while you're down there, click the like button and the bell next to it. I drop videos every single week. That's how you're going to be in the know when the next one drops. I've built $1 million plus copywriting business using these strategies, and I have totally, raising my hand, made mistakes along the way, like a lot. Now again, maybe you're watching this and you're already a paid or working writer. Or maybe you've never been paid a dime for what you do, but you're pretty sure you could be freelancer with it. We're gonna dive into these actual tactical steps that I took, and spoiler, none of them are gonna include marketing on social media. Here's how I grew my business. Let's go. Step number one, and even if you've heard this before, I want you to listen up because you need to become referable. I'm gonna tell two stories in this video today. Here's the first one. We're gonna dive right in at the beginning. I remember exactly where I was after I had, again, gotten bit by the bug. I knew that there was this ecosystem of people that got paid to do what they did for a living and enjoyed it. That was a major light bulb moment. But I remember where I was turning on Piedmont Street in Buckhead in Atlanta, listening to some podcasts, and some guy on some podcast was talking about the value in, I'm gonna go ahead and say it, niching. I recall listening, thinking, that is so cute. Pats on head, but I am going to get plenty of money doing all of the writing things that I can do. I've written press releases, I have written web copy, email copy. Get at me. If you can pay me, I can write it. That was my initial approach. Every now and then on social media, I'll ask what kind of writers are out there that follow me, and sometimes I get some extremely vague responses. If you're telling me you write content copy like blogs and scripts, and you write web copy, and you write email copy, and you write ads on Amazon, and you serve 3 different industries, I don't know where to categorize you in my brain. That's why I chose to call this first tip be referable instead of what I really wanted to say, and that's niche down and then niche again. I've done a video in the past where I talked about niching both horizontally and vertically. I'll link that down below, but it gets to the fact that I need you to be referable. I need you to be the go-to guy or gal for whatever it is that you do. So your name is on my lips when somebody asks me, hey, I need a writer for blank, your name comes up, which happens all the time. I get emails constantly to my inbox where people are asking, hey, you're a writer, I need a writer that does X, Y, Z, and we keep an inventory, a list of people out there I know that are writers that have different beats, I guess, that you would say that they cover for copywriting or content writing, and that's what I do. I refer people out. But I can't do that if you do all of the things. And just because if you're a writer, you can copy, edit, and clean resumes, you can write magazine articles, that doesn't always mean you should. When it comes to copywriting, but truly I think entrepreneurship in general, especially for those of us who have a service basis, I aim for being a specialist, not a generalist. You can figure this out by first deciding a horizontal niche. What is the type of craft that you want to do that serves a wide array horizontally of different audiences? So do you want to specialize in direct mail copy and mail outs? Content writing, blogs, social media copy, ad copy, web copy, email copy, brand messaging. My friend Justin specializes in voice. Do you want to dig into scripting, video script copywriting, sales letter videos, or even short form copy like TikTok scripts? Maybe it's quiz copywriting. My friend Shanti specializes in that. I know writers that specialize in ghostwriting for books, SEO copy. Maybe you want to move into editing and copy editing. That's a great niche to dig into. Or PR writing, and you want to swing into the PR side of things. I started my business in February, and by August, I had a defined set of things that I wanted to do, but those months in between, specifically the first 2, I was writing all of the things. I did need to do this a little bit to figure out what it was that I liked and develop kind of my hypothesis and approach. More on that in a later tip I'm going to give you. But you know this, every time you say yes to one job, you say no to something else. But what are you going to say yes to, which means you're going to say no to some things. I can't tell you how valuable it is to be referable because at first, like grassroots marketing, I promise it goes far and beyond any kind of social media marketing. At least it did for me. I became the go-to girl in the creative niche for brand messaging and website copy and funnel and launch copy. Basically, the more bottom of funnel the copy needs, that's where I wanted to specialize and hang out. I did not want to do the top part. I still don't. That means saying no to content marketing jobs, script writing, social media content writing. Okay, after you've picked a horizontal niche, then you can start to narrow that with a vertical niche. This means serving a specific audience and their set of needs. I see a lot of freelancers and copywriters resist this, and I understand it. I did too. I would recommend, though, you don't have to stay in here, but maybe with what you market, stay in this lane. You can always take in jobs on the side as you build your portfolio in your business. I fell into that creative realm because while I was in corporate marketing, I did wedding calligraphy as a moonlight job, and I was constantly going to meetups and events in Atlanta where I heard other creative entrepreneurs explain how they weren't comfortable selling themselves or responding to inquiries or with the messaging on their website, and I thought, that's exactly what I do. So I'll tell you what I say all of the time: find the U-size gap in the market and go fill it. I hate the advice like follow your passion and the money will flow, because there has to be a market need out there. There has to be demand for the supply that you're going to offer. Somebody has to want and be willing to pay for what you do. I'll put this Tim Urban quote up because it's a good one. But a pro tip, if you've never done it, is to go read the now famous article, 1,000 True Fans. You can just pop it in a search engine and find it. You gotta be okay not working for everyone. There's enough people out there, or there should be if you've done your research, where you can serve them and build a dang good business doing it. In fact, looking back now, I think it was a mistake that I left calligraphy on as much as I could, which impacted my building of the copywriting side of my business, but I kept serving calligraphy clients because I thought nobody would book me in the copywriting industry if they didn't see that I was trying to sell and understood how to sell a luxury artistry service to people. Bonus tip to tie up this be referable tip, or AKA niche down, niche again, makes it so much easier to find you on Google. If someone has a specific writing need or freelancer type that they want to hire, they can find it. You want to make sure when people land on your website that they know who you work for and who you don't. Take a dose of your own medicine. I promise I resisted this for a long time. If you're a copywriter, flip the mirror around and put it on yourself and think, is it clear what you do on your marketing materials, or even in just how you pitch yourself? If I go to an event and I hear somebody describe exactly what they do, it makes a mental note. I know somebody who does XYZ. Be referable. Tip number 2, and I wanted to do this one first because I think chronologically it would make sense, but that's okay. Here is the tip: stop calling yourself a freelancer. One of the biggest mindset shifts I had my first couple of months in business was to quit approaching my craft as a freelance writer and start thinking, no, I am in the driver's seat here. I'm a business owner. Something about calling myself a business owner made it easier for me to see the value that my craft brings to the table. Plus, when you see yourself as a business owner, you also then naturally understand you're going to be hashing through things like client experience and budget, expenses, overhead, marketing, client acquisition, or prospecting, managing your time, and building a brand. Maybe it's just me, but when I am in freelancer mode, I'm more in like jack of all trades, a little bit starving artist mode. That's just where my head goes. Even if you never intend to build a business to sell, I recommend the book Built to Sell because it helps reinforce what I'm talking about here. It was important for me to drop this one in here because as I talk to and coach a lot of other writers, I hear things like, well, but my system, it has to be so customized to my clients. Every single client is always going to want a completely custom experience. That's just what we want when we pay for services. However, you are the professional. You can still give a very custom experience while taking someone through a proven process that you know works so well. Related to this tip, if you can start to have a hypothesis of what you think will work, again, in the horizontal and vertical niche that you want to serve, that you've seen need, that you can help with, you can form this hypothesis and test it over and over and over again until you get it just right. To be a successful freelancer, you have to figure out managing your time. That's just the name of the game. And that's very difficult to do if everyone that waltzes in sees himself as a special snowflake and you can't ever predict any sort of rhythm or categorization to your workflows. Pricing and packaging is going to be a lot easier if you can master this mindset switch. And again, it lends back to the first tip, be referable. Investing in a CRM is going to help this go a lot faster. Then you get to dig into some of the things that are so important for me on the agency side of my business, like client experience, and you get to go overboard in offering that, I always say, like Ritz-Carlton level just cachet and experience for somebody who's paying a heck of a lot of money to work with you. The CRM tool that I love and use in my business is HoneyBook. It's worked great for us, but because we had such a honed system, because I spent my first few months constantly throwing spaghetti at the wall, taking this hypothesis that I thought might work and perfecting it, then I was able to build that out into a client experience. I have a free download of 28 different types of email templates that I first built out when I started my copywriting business. Go ahead, look down below, and you can grab that. Having these on deck, ready to go, is still so helpful in managing my time. When I worked in corporate marketing, there was a writer, Jennifer, who I had for lunch one day at one of our restaurants that I was a publicist for, and I couldn't help but ask her while we were talking about business together, I was like, can you just tell me, like, seems like you get paid for what you do and it works? And she laughed. She said, Ashlyn, yes, like I make a salary. I write all the time. The minute somebody told me they could do that, it lit something in me that I thought, I bet I can do that too then. Like, if you can do it, I can probably do it. Hopefully I can be that for you if you're considering going into writing, but that mindset shift was everything. Not thinking of myself as a freelancer, but seeing myself as a small business owner. Okay, and the number 3 tip I have is to build out a continuing education curriculum. There is no Thursday lunch and learn that's optional to bring your brown bag lunch to and sit down. There's no textbook or predetermined curriculum. So I have a few tips here for you. By the way, if you want to deep dive and go crazy on this, I recommend the book Ultra Learning. It is fantastic, but I always factor continuing education into my weekly rhythms. I usually do it on Fridays, sometimes on Sundays. Here's why I say this, and it's important. We went through a phase in my business, and you'll do this as you grow. June this past year, and kind of May as well, were completely devoted to hiring. We hired on 3 new employees in my business, so that meant tons of interviews. It meant tons of time reviewing applications and sorting through things and praying. And so because of that, my writing chops, my writing muscles, they atrophied a little bit. I was not in my regular practice of writing. I paid for that because when I went back and flipped the switch to go back to my constant craft, it took me longer and ate up more of my time to get back into the saddle. Whatever your craft, again, I'm using writing as the example in this. Select your materials, go ahead and plan out maybe in a year, what books do you want to read, what courses do you want to complete, set deadlines and get to it. I love online education. I always laugh when somebody tells me they're at a place in their business where they don't take courses anymore, because I do not think I'll ever get there. Courses are how I stay abreast of so much. As much as I love courses though, hard copy books and even just flipping through old direct mail pieces and rewriting them, that can be some of the very best continuing education. If you're a writer, you know this. Good reading begets better writing. So starting your workday with reading a few pages of a book that you're trying to work through, or even the 750 words challenge, kind of like morning pages, but right when you sit down, that's a great tool. Do something, bake it into your schedule where you're constantly like going to the gym and lifting those weights for your craft. You're gonna have to do this because, to tip number 2, you're a small business owner and a lot of other things are gonna come up on your table. But to tip number 1, you need to be referable and dang good at what you do. That's the best grassroots marketing of all. I have a whole list over on Amazon of some of my favorite books that I've read. I'm gonna give you a few other ideas of like a concrete actionable goal so you can see what I mean. There's National Novel Writing Month. You may have heard of that one. My friend Justin Blackman one time wrote 100 headlines every day for 100 days. He said it was extremely hard, but that's what I'm trying to tell you to do. Maybe it's just using 750words.com every day, taking 20-ish minutes or however long it takes you, hammering out that words, bringing no judgment to the table, and just keeping that muscle in tune. The last tip I wanted to give you, I kind of bashed Instagram at the top of this video, but I did it for good reason. A lot of times when we start our businesses or we start freelancing full-time, whatever you want to call it, you get out there and you think, oh my gosh, I've got to post, like I have to market my business. And that is just not where I got my big heavy hitting clients from when I started my business. It was by being referable, calling myself a small business owner, and having tight systems and time to continue my education and build up my skills. Don't forget, writing business or not, I've got that list of 28 different email templates that will help you ramp up your time as a small business owner. Be sure to grab it below. If this video helped you out, click that like button. Comment below with any questions that you may have. And be sure to watch the next video I've got teed up for you, because now you know a few things about starting your business as a copywriter. I'll go ahead and help you firm up some tips on writing better copy that converts as well. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one.